So I want to enable environment parity. What does that mean? That means that I want to have a near identical environment to production to code against. So I want to develop an environment that looks incredibly similar to production. The reason why you'd want that is because as a developer, you want to have the confidence in order to say, it works on my machine, therefore it works on production. Supabase is an excellent target for environment parity since so much of the functionality is stored in the database. So Snaplet can help you copy your production database and plug it into different environments. At the same time, it will remove any of the personal information, so you can sort of have confidence that you are not leaking personal information to your developers from your production database. So to say it another way, I want to take this production database, I want to copy it, and have a staging database or a development database. In order to do that, we need to connect to your Supabase database. So what we need is your connection string. You can get that by going to databases, to go to connection pooling, and to copy the connection string from the bottom here. Now that I have a connection string, I can sign up to Snaplet. So I'm going to head over to app.snaplet.dev. I'm going to log in, and then it gives me the opportunity to create a team. I'm going to name my team VideoLet Inc. And I'm going to import my connection string that I copied from Supabase. Let's test that connection string to make sure that everything's okay. The connection details are correct. We have select privileges, but we also have additional privileges that Snaplet doesn't want. Snaplet only wants read-only access to your database. There are instructions in our documentation that tell you how to create a read-only database account. What I want to do is copy this SQL and run that in the Supabase SQL editor. So I go over to SQL editor. I click on new query. I paste this in the SQL editor, and I click run. So what this does is it creates a read-only role. It iterates over all the schemas in your database and grants select and usage on those, as well as additional privileges for any future tables that you create in those schemas. It then creates a user called Snaplet with a password, a very good password, and it grants the read-only role to the user Snaplet. So now you have a read-only user named Snaplet. Let's plug those details into here. So Snaplet, a very good password. Let's test that again. Perfect. Now that Snaplet is connected to your production database, you need to tell us how to transform your data. So right now, we currently have some transformations on the auth schema. We're replacing the user's email and phone number with synthetic values, and we're replacing the refresh tokens. I'm going to add some additional ones. On my database, we have addresses and phone numbers. I want to make these American style phone numbers, and that's good enough for me right now. I'm going to save this transformation. Once it's saved, it's going to kick off a snapshot. So right now, what's happening is we're connecting to your production database. We'll copy the values one by one out of your tables, and we'll transform those values in a stream and save them in a bucket on the internet so you can restore it later. The snapshot worker is chugging away, copying every single table, every single schema, and transforming those values in real time whilst it's uploading these snapshots into S3. Once it's done, we can restore this into our development environment in Supabase. Let's create a development project in Supabase. I'm going to name this VideoLet_development. We need a password, a very good password. And let's create this project. Okay, so we have two Supabase projects. We have VideoLet development, the one I want to code against, and VideoLet production, the one that my code runs against. What I want to do is copy the data from here into here. We've already created a snapshot of VideoLet production over here in Snaplet. Now what I want to do is take this captured snapshot. I want to restore it to VideoLet development. In order to do that, I need to install the CLI. In order to install the CLI, head over to our documentation and run this bash command. If you want to view the contents of this bash command, you can click on this link over here to see what's going on when we run this on your machine. Now that the CLI is installed, we can log in. Head on over to this page to copy your access token and paste it in below. So we've installed the CLI, we've authenticated, and now we want to take our code base and associate it to the snapshot that we just created in Snaplet. In order to do that, we run Snaplet setup. We then need to specify where we would want our snapshot restored to. In order to do that, we head over to Supabase, we head over to development, we go to database, we go to connection pooling, and we grab the connection details. Remember, we're copying from production and restoring to development. So the user is Postgres, the password is that, this is the host name, that's the port, that's the database. We're going to test the connection credentials, and then we're going to select the Supabase database in Snaplet. Now, in order to restore our snapshot from Snaplet into our video-led development database, we're going to type Snaplet restore. What this is going to do is test the database credentials. So are we able to connect to Supabase? Then we're going to download the schema, we're going to download the data, we're going to reset the development database and import the schema and import the data. Snaplet restore is now run, so let's head over to Supabase to see what the result is. Let's go to the table editor. Here you can see we now have tables in here. If we go to address, let's wait for that to load, you'll notice that all of our phone numbers are now changed from what they were, the private information, to these American-style TV phone numbers. So in summary, what have we done? We took our video-led production database, we added the connection details to Snaplet, where we defined a data transformation to remove personally identifiable information. We created a snapshot, which we then copied down to our computer using the Snaplet CLI. We created a video-led development database, and we restored the snapshot into the development database, which we can now code against. Oh, and one last thing. If I wanted a snapshot of my production database right now restored to my development database, I could type snaplet restore --new. That'll kick off a snapshot in the environment. It'll wait until it's done and then restore it to development. So if we have a look here in production, you'll see a new snapshot has just kicked off. We're connecting to your production database, understanding your data, transforming it, saving it, and then the CLI will carry on and restore it to your development environment. And that's it. Thank you, Supabase users. I just wanted to say that this is an early preview feature. We're building this for you, for your community. We'd love to interact with you. We'd love to understand where it works and where it doesn't, and any additional features that you have. We'd love to hear about them. We're building this for you.